Hello students, welcome to class. Today we are going to continue supply. In that we are going to see what is individual supply curve and what is the market supply curve and law of supply and what are the assumptions of law of supply and reasons for law of supply and exemptions to law of supply. Let's see now. Let's start with the first one. What is the supply curve? Supply curve refers to a graphical representation of supply schedule. Yes, and it is the locus of all the points which showing various quantities of a commodity that a producer willing to sell at various level of price during a given period of a time, assuming that no changes in the other factors. Yes, and the supply curve is two types. One is individual supply curve and second one is the market supply curve. Let's see with the first one, what is the individual supply curve? What is the individual supply curve? Individual supply curve which refers to a graphical representation of individual supply schedule. Yes, so in this diagram, x-axis denotes about quantity supply and y-axis denotes price. Okay, now see the price and quantity supply are directly related. Okay, so more are supplied at a higher prices, okay, and less at a lower prices. So what will happen to the supply curve? Yes, the supply curve, yes, slopes upward. Yes, slope upward from left to right. Yes, so it's called the individual supply curve. I repeat again, price and quantity supplied are directly related. More are supplied at higher prices and less at a lower prices. So the supply curve, yes, slopes upward from left to right. Let's move to the next one, market supply curve. Market supply curve, that is nothing but which refers to a graphical representation of market supply schedule. Yes, so in this diagram, in this figure, SA and SB are the individual supply curve. Yes, and SM, that is your market supply curve, is your SM, is obtained by horizontal summation of the individual supply curve of SA and SB. Yes, so this is your market supply curve. So in this diagram, already we have said that, yes, SA and SB is your individual supply curve and SM is your market supply curve, isn't it? That is which obtained by horizontal summation of individual supply curve of SA and SB. Okay, now just look at market supply curve, yes, that is flatter than the individual supply curve. What is the reason? Because with the change in the price, the proportionate change in the market supply is more than the proportionate change in the individual supply. Yes, so that's why the market supply curve is flatter than the individual supply curve. It starts with the law of supply. What is the law of supply? Law of supply is nothing but it states the direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Keeping the other factors constant, we are calling it as interest variables. Yes, we are calling it as the law of supply. Now let's see what are the assumption of law of supply. The first assumption, price of other good is constant. Yes, what is the second one? No change in the technology. And third one, the price of factors of production, yes, remain same. And fourth one, there is no change in the taxation policy. And fifth one, goals of the producer remain the same. So these are the assumption of law of supply. Yes, while stating the law of supply, the phrase keeping other factors constant or citrus variables are used. So this phrase we are used to cover the following assumption on which the law is based. So these are the assumptions of the first one, price of other goods is constant. Second, no change in the technology. Third, price of factors of production remain the same. Fourth, no change in the taxation policy. And the fifth one, goals of the producer remain the same. Let's start what are the reasons for law of supply. The first one is a profit motive. Second one, change in number of firms. And third one, change in stock. Let's start with the first one, profit motive. Yes. The aim of the producer, what will be the aim of the producer is to earn a profit. So when the price rises, its profit also will be increases. Yes, and it will be motivated to increase its supply. Now, move on to the second one, change in number of firms. Now, rise in price will encourage new firms to enter into the market. Okay, so what will happen to the supply? The supply will expand. Now, fall in the price, what will happen? May force some firms to leave the industry and supply will fall. Now, coming back to the third one, change in stock. See, price rises will encourage firms to release goods from their stock. Yes? Now, just look at the other one. However, at relatively lower prices, the producers do not release any big quantities of the stock. They start increasing the inventories with the view that the price may rise in near future. So these are the reasons for law of supply, profit motive, change in number of firms, and the third one, change in stock. Let's start with the next one. What are the exceptions of law of supply? The first one, future expectation. Second one, agricultural goods. And the third one, backward countries. Now, future expectation. Now listen, if seller will expect a fall in the price in the future, then the law of supply may not hold true in the situation. So the seller will be willing to sell more even at lower prices. Okay, however, if they expect the price rise in the future, they would reduce the supply of the commodity in order to supply the commodity later at a higher price. Second, agricultural goods. The supply does not apply to the agricultural goods as a production depends on climatic condition. Okay, due to unforeseen changes in weather, production of agricultural product is low, then the supply cannot be increased even at higher prices. The third one, backward countries. In economically backward countries, production and supply cannot be increased with the rise in price due to shortage of resources. So these are the exemptions of law of supply. The first one, future expectation. Second one, agricultural goods. And the third one is the backward countries. Let us quickly recall what we studied in the session. First, we have just started with what is a supply curve. In that, we have discussed what is individual supply curve and what is a market supply curve. And then we have discussed about what is the law of supply and assumption of law of supply and reasons for law of supply and exemptions to law of supply. Thank you.